Telekom Malaysia or TM saw its latest quarterly net profit surge to its highest in a decade on the back of a sharp increase in revenue from all lines of service, particularly data and internet services. Second quarter FY22 earnings rose 73% to 378.1 million ringgit, its highest since it booked 598.3 million ringgit in the fourth quarter of FY11. This was achieved despite the 33% cukai makmur applied for the quarter, in addition to larger foreign exchange loss on borrowings and higher effective tax rate. Meanwhile, revenue improved by 11.8% to 3.09 billion ringgit. The telco declared an interim dividend of 9 cents per share. For the first 6 months, TM's net profit rose 32% to 717.91 million ringgit, as revenue rose 7.3% to 5.98 billion ringgit. Looking ahead, Group CEO Imri Mokhtar said 5G will level the playing field and move the industry away from network-based to service-based competition, and that the group welcomes the government's call for the industry to take up equity stakes in Digital Nasional. The telco expects 5G to open up and expand the opportunities and growth areas for all of its business segments: consumers, SMEs, enterprises, wholesale and digital services. It looks forward to rolling out 5G-enabled products and solutions and unlocking value to meet customers' demands. Shares in TM closed unchanged today at 5 ringgit 65, giving it a market value of 21.4 billion ringgit. Petronas Dagangan or PetDag booked a 189.4% jump in second quarter FY22 net profit, mainly due to higher gross profit from the retail segment, in line with the increase in sales volume, as well as higher average selling prices. Earnings came in at 237.68 million ringgit, while revenue soared 83.33% to 9.5 billion ringgit in the quarter under review. It declared an interim dividend of 11 cents per share. Cumulative net profit for the first half of FY22 advanced 30.4% to 356.17 million ringgit, as revenue grew 65.8% to 17.12 billion ringgit. The increase was also thanks to higher other income, following a one-off gain of 40 million ringgit from the disposal of its liquefied petroleum gas business in Sarawak in March. This was offset by higher operating expenditure, mainly attributable to dealers' commission. As for prospects, PetDag said the group is on track to maintain its growth recovery on the back of positive economic developments, though it remains cautious with regard to the volatility of crude oil prices. PetDag's share price dropped 1.79% to 21 ringgit 94 cents today, valuing the group at 21.8 billion ringgit. The 1MDB tenor trial is expected to resume in the High Court tomorrow, and Datuk Seri Najib Razak is expected to be brought out of the Kajang Prison to attend the trial. Usually in criminal trials, the presence of the accused person is required during proceedings. If this happens, an order to produce will be issued by the court to the prison's department to secure Najib's attendance. Deputy Public Prosecutor Muhammad Mustafa P. Kunyalam, when contacted by theedgemarkets.com, confirmed that the trial is slated to proceed tomorrow before Judge Datuk Colin Lawrence Sekara, and said an order to produce would likely be requested. Deputy Public Prosecutor Ahmad Akram Garib expects the trial to resume with the cross-examination by the defence of former Finance Ministry Deputy Secretary General for Policy Datuk Siti Zawiyah Muhammad Desa and lawyer Mark Lim from 1MDB's former legal firm Wong & Partners. Najib's lawyer Wan Aizuddin Wan Muhammad from Messrs Shafi & Co, when contacted, likewise confirmed that the case would be called up tomorrow. Najib began his 12-year jail sentence yesterday with a 210 million ringgit fine after the federal court maintained his conviction with regard to all 7 charges in relation to former 1MDB subsidiary SRC Hibiscus Petroleum posted a fourfold spike in its fourth quarter FY22 net profit, underpinned by contributions from its newly acquired assets and a strong oil price environment. Earnings for the quarter rose to 215.51 million ringgit, while revenue ballooned 243.2% to 868.37 million ringgit. For the full fiscal year, Hibiscus posted a more than fivefold increase in its net profit to 613.06 million ringgit, while revenue more than doubled to 1.7 billion ringgit. Going forward, Hibiscus said it aims to sell approximately 7.2 to 7.5 million BOE of oil condensate and gas. The group said it expects to sell a total of about 1.6 million BOE in the first quarter of FY23 and 2.6 million BOE in the second quarter of FY23. Meanwhile, an important milestone to be pursued and delivered over the first quarter of FY23 is the reinstatement of the failed riser at the Ana Surya cluster, which malfunctioned in May 2021. Overall, it said it remains focused on delivering optimal performance in a strong oil price environment. At the close, Hibiscus Petroleum shares were down 1.54% at 96 cents, giving it a market capitalization of 1.93 billion ringgit. Sunway Construction Group or Suncon booked a threefold jump in second quarter FY22 net profit on the back of a low base and higher revenue from all segments. Net profit for the quarter rose to 32.3 million ringgit, while revenue was up 48.7% to 557.9 million ringgit. The company declared a dividend of 3 cents per share. As for the first half of FY22, earnings more than doubled to 66.82 million ringgit, with revenue rising 42.4% to 1.18 billion ringgit. Suncon Group MD Liew Kok Weng said the group is cautiously optimistic about registering positive growth in FY22, supported by a strong existing outstanding order book. He said the outlook for the construction industry is improving. There's the rollout of mega infrastructure projects, as well as the rapid growth in the e-commerce, cloud computing and microchip industries, which leads to higher demand for semiconductor manufacturing plants and facilities, e-commerce and logistics warehouses and data centers. The operating landscape is also hoped to stabilize further as commodity and steel bar prices retreat from peak levels. Meanwhile, Suncon managed to obtain a quota for 400 foreign workers, and about 100 should arrive in September. Suncon shares closed 0.65% higher at 1 ringgit 56 for a market value of 2.02 billion ringgit.